Finished 2-1 Brighton. It's a huge, devastating loss for Man City. 4 in a row. Never seen it before with Guardiola whilst he's been at the club. And it opens the door in a massive way for the Premier League title race, for Liverpool, for Arsenal, and dare I say it, anyone else who wants to have a go. This is going to be a very competitive title race because this City side are miles off of it. And without Rodri, who's out for 9 months, I don't see how there's any quick changes that can get City back to winning ways. We're going to break down what went wrong in the game and the title race later in the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It's such a devastating loss because City are scoring early in the game, had multiple chances to make it 2 and 3. And Brighton deserved the win, just like Bournemouth, just like anyone else who wants to pick off a win against this City side. It's devastating in a way that actually I've not felt for many, many years as a City fan. Because obviously we've been very privileged to see what we've been able to see as City fans. The result is as bad as it gets for the club, not for Guardiola, not even for Sheikh Mansour and his era of ownership of the football club. The City haven't lost 4 in a row since 2006. I think you're talking about Stuart Pearce as manager, Joey Barton in midfield, Antoine Seberski. So losing 4 in a row is obviously frustrating. I don't think any City fans are going to sit there and do a rant like someone on AFTV, because if you win 4 in a row, you've got a little bit of leverage and it's game week 10 in the Premier League. But 4 in a row, losing 4 in a row, is symbolic. It's not happened for close to 20 years for the club, even pre-takeover. So it is devastating. It alludes to a side that I think is devoid of confidence defensively speaking. And the big one for me is organisation. It was Sunday League defending at points, and Brighton are always going to pick you off. They might not have a world-class side, but they've got so many smart... They have to be top 2, top 3 most intelligent sides in the Premier League, because they're always going to find space. Again, they're a selling club on some level. They can't always keep the world-class talents that they've been producing for many, many years. But someone like O'Reilly that comes on and he finds space, and they're always going to kill you if you can't defend clearly. This City side, even with the injuries, should be getting at least a draw. And that's what's frustrating. The draw gives us a great platform for whatever Liverpool do this weekend, and Arsenal. Upon recording this video, I don't know what Liverpool are doing. But ultimately, you can't lose the game. I mean, it's the kind of criticism I've been giving Arsenal for when they've been losing games. They should be holding on to results, trying to get draws. The Newcastle one, the Bournemouth one, and City are morphing into Arteta ball. It's so frustrating. Erling Haaland puts City in a great position early in the first half. It's a beautiful ball from Kovacic, who started the game very, very well. The more I look at Kovacic, the more I think, I know it's ridiculous, but I think he's a number 10. The way he carries the ball so smooth, the way he's so poor defensively speaking, in my opinion, positionally. I think City at points are basically picked, because you could say Mateus Nunes, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva came on, Gundogan, De Bruyne came on, and then Kovacic. You could actually say that they're all number 10s basically. So he had an unbelievable start to the game, played a beautiful through ball into Erling Haaland, who does his usual kind of job of scoring the goal. It's been a while since he's scored in the league and in total. It's been a while. He's dried up a little bit. I think that's down to Rodri as well. As much as our defensive issues are down to Rodri, I think the kind of balls being played into Haaland aren't as quick, aren't as intense, aren't as first time. There's a lack of confidence playing things into Haaland. And Kovacic, to be fair to him, gets on it and drives a great ball into Haaland's feet. And Haaland kind of, classic Haaland, kind of clunkily gets it over the line. And you think from that point, when I was watching, I thought City is just going to kick into second gear now, third gear, and just go on. Get a couple more. Haaland could have scored very, very shortly after on his right foot. Great save from De Bruyne, who is turning into one of the best keepers in the league, by the way. He made some big saves. And don't get it twisted. City had big opportunities and a lot of the ball today. So as much as you can maybe criticise the defensive unit from City, which I will do in a minute, to be honest, or constructively criticise, the opportunities that City are missing are still blatant. The kind of quality of possession still feels side to side, languid, dare I say it. And we have to talk about the second half, because Brighton performed like a side that wanted to win the Premier League. City didn't perform like a side that wanted to win the Premier League. And you can't always question a player's desire, especially City players, if you win 4 in a row and it's early in the season. But this side looked completely devoid of kind of anything that goes wrong with this City side at the moment. It capitulates into losses, as opposed to a 1-1 draw, which would have been a decent result. You know, Herzl's got these guys flying. They're fantastic. They've picked off some big wins against, I think, Spurs, Manchester United already this season, so fair enough. But turn it into a 1-1 2-1 is just devastating. Let's just talk about those goals. The ball from Matoma, he gets it on the left-hand side, on the outside of his boot. I mean, Kyle Walker made this guy look like prime Frank Ribery. I mean, it was just mental. But he's fantastic, Matoma. The ball across, fantastic. I think the ball comes back to him. He plays it again into the feet of Danny Welbeck. There's this kind of massive scuffle between Mateus Nunes getting involved. Gvardiol's not sure what to do. Rico Lewis. One of these guys has to put their foot through it and clear it. And actually, the rebound back to Matoma is from Simpson, who's too young to be playing these kind of games, with all due respect. He didn't get exposed massively today. I don't want to blame the kid, but there's an opportunity for him to clear the ball. Rico Lewis, who I think, if you're going to ever criticize Rico Lewis, it can't be for his awareness of the game, his quality of passing, anything like that. But his maturity, his leadership, but his physicality. There's an opportunity, if you rewatch the highlights, to clear the ball, to push the ball wide, and I don't feel he put his foot through it right, in my opinion. And I think Gvardiol's a little bit at sea as well, and he's being asked to play out of position. The whole back four, you got an academy kid, you got Kyle Walker who can't run. Maybe it was a bit harsh. You got Rico Lewis playing out of position. Gvardiol is basically the only senior centre back who I'd say, or defender as well, who I'd say is fantastic at a world class level, and he's been shifted about. So the back four is a real world of pain situation at the moment. But something has to give, surely. Something has to give. And you just sit on the 1-1 draw. And it felt at points that City wanted to do that. But a couple of minutes later, the ball through into, I think it's João Pedro that plays the ball into Matt O'Reilly. Hasn't played a minute of Premier League football. And the finish is just superb. I have to talk about O'Reilly. I remember the buzz coming out of the Scottish Premier League. A high-scoring kind of midfielder. Very, very highly rated in Scotland. And he goes to Brighton for 25 million quid. I remember everyone thinking this kid is going to be a genius. He played in the League Cup against someone. I can't remember. And he got crunched 9 minutes in. So he's basically not played football ever for Brighton. He's coming on and looking like prime Pele against Man City. So the story of O'Reilly is really, really nice. I really love moments like that, as much as I hate to say it. It was a great little finish, great run, great ball. The defensive line from City actually wasn't that bad. And he's able to be played through with ease. And it's a great finish. It's a great moment for Brighton, who, if it goes well, O'Reilly could easily go well, and they could sell him for 80 million quid, 100 million quid. He's that good, I think. I think he's got a very, very good ceiling. Not now, but it looks like a Tony Bloom masterstroke. I'm going to be completely real. The ball getting played into him is embarrassing. I mean, the midfield, I think it's De Bruyne who's come on. That will give City some life, of course, but the pressing from De Bruyne isn't quite there. It felt like the pressing from Mateus Nunes today. Bernardo Silva, when he came on for 20 minutes. Ilkay Gundogan, it just feels very slow. And Brighton had a lot of time to play that final ball into past Kovacic and then bang into O'Reilly. Kovacic is not a defensive midfielder. He has to be played alongside Rodri. He has to be played alongside someone else. He's very, very technically gifted, but there's so much space in the midfield. If you rewatch the highlights, the second goal for Brighton, it's almost just an attacker being able to play a ball to his heart's content wherever he wants around the back four. It's a completely open and exposed back four that are running backwards. They hold a very decent defensive line, but it's just criminal in professional football, let alone Premier League football, let alone title race football, to be that exposed. And it has to be down to the pressing, the amount of intensity going in towards the kind of press, because you can't just have De Bruyne pressing or Haaland pressing. You have to press as a team, and that somehow has gone out the window. I don't know if that's down to legs. You hear about burnout, Pochettino and Jurgen Klopp. These guys maybe burn their players out after 3 or 4 years. And you think City have gone back to Ilkay Gundogan that City let go a year ago, who's now in his 30s. I thought it was a great sign at the time, still can be. Bernardo Silva looks shattered. The back four is completely inexperienced, completely exposed. It's a really poor result. It really is. This City side, look, the injuries, if you're missing Ruben Diaz clears the first one. He boots it and he gets his head on it, or he does something, and there's a goal saved there. John Stones similarly. Nathan Ake as well, who's been fantastic for many years, not really fit enough to play. So if these guys come back in, it is improved. So you do have to talk about injuries a little bit. Of course you do. But with Haaland, you've got Ederson still in goal. You've got so many players in that midfield. that are, Mateo Kovacic has won, 3 Champions Leagues? It's mental. And you feel that you can play through him. And you feel that at points defensively, he's the worst midfielder on the pitch, defensively speaking. It's cataclysmically bad defensively from City. And if you go 4 in a row, the amount of talent in this side losing, questions have to be asked. If you've made it this far, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about what went wrong for City tonight. It's so frustrating. I mean, Brighton had multiple chances as well. It's not like they've nicked it. It's not like they've kind of parked the bus or anything. They were fantastic for points and they progressed the ball very, very well. You look at where City are going to get results now. Obviously, Ruben Diaz coming back, which I think will happen by the end of the international break. Thank God for an international break. And I've never said that before. John Stones as well and a few others. De Bruyne back to full fitness will be huge. But you're looking at Spurs. They can always beat City. Always. Obviously, final is different, but in the title race, Liverpool is the next game after Spurs in the title race. If this City side don't get players back by then, it could be 5-0 to Liverpool. It could be 5-0 to Liverpool. Then you got Forest at home, who last year would have been a 5-0 win to City, let's be honest, or the year before. That could easily be a draw. And then Palace away, which is a nightmare result. A nightmare result. It really is. Palace away. It's worrying. By the time Palace and Forest and Liverpool come up, it won't be this 11. For sure not. But you never know. There could be more injuries. I have to talk about a couple of things. Firstly, Kyle Walker. The issue is Kyle Walker doesn't look that much slower. He looks a little bit slower. And you can think about famous right-back examples where you say, the legs have gone. I have to retire now. Or I have to move to the MLS. The big example is West Brom, Gary Neville for Manchester United. His legs are gone. He couldn't be a professional footballer anymore at that level. He just couldn't be. Kyle Walker hasn't got that. He could still go on for 3 or 4 years, in my honest opinion. Not the best right back in the world, but still at a good level. But there's something happening with Kyle Walker where he positionally looks so scared all the time. Again, Mitoma looked. I'm trying to think of a world-class left winger. You have to let me know down below. Frank Ribery? I'm just trying to think. But he looked like prime. I'm struggling to think of a left winger. He looked like prime Frank Ribery. It was absolutely outrageous. So much space. Kyle Walker should be able to get to him, in my opinion. He's demonstrated this season that he still has got legs. But positionally, he allowed Mitoma so much space over and over again. And Mitoma's such a smart player. He's always going to give you goals and assists. He's always going to give you killer passes, even if the other player can't execute it. Mitoma never wastes a ball. And you feel that Kyle Walker, what's happening? What's happening? And also, he's exposed. I don't think Savinho's doing the work in the same way. I don't think Savinho does the work defensively that Guardiola would like. He has to play him because you need creative flair going forward. He looked good in the game, created a couple of opportunities. But I think this City side is sacrificing quite a lot when Savinho's on the side defensively as well. Kyle Walker and Savinho on one side. It's not necessarily, Tony Pulis's dream at night, is it? That kind of defensive unit. It isn't. It's very, very exposed. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's been a long night. The second half, it was shocking. But the first half, I thought City is still scoring goals, displaying quality moments, but not nearly enough. It is bad. It's as bad as it's been for nearly 20 years. 4 in a row since 2006. 4 in a row for the first time since Guardiola was at the club. So, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'll see you very, very soon.